I've received a number of messages from those who say they do not have a harmonious relationship with their thoughts and emotions. Some don't have a harmonious relationship with thoughts, and some don't with emotions, and some both, having not reconciled the two. Some also shared that they believe that if they experience emotions a particular way, they would not be able to actualize their vision, so they try not to experience these particular emotions. Now, emotions are energy in motion, and although they can reveal what a person is believing, they do not prevent the actualization of a vision. For example, there are many that actualize a successful business through identification with beliefs of, and thus experiences of, stress and frustration. And then there are many that actualize a business from a state of flow, which is a natural way of being, enjoying thus the journey to actualizing the vision. All of them thus experience whatever they believe in relation to what appears on the journey to actualizing the vision, determining the kind of experience they have on the journey to actualizing the vision. So let's talk about making this journey to actualizing the vision as effortless, fun, and flow-based by having a healthy relationship with thoughts and emotions and reconciling the seeming differences between them. Now, a thought persisted upon in relation to emotions, and by that I mean labeling emotions, becomes a belief. So if one does not label emotions as, for example, meaning they're not good enough, inadequate, etc., they do not form those beliefs. And if they don't form those beliefs, the energy in motion, which are emotions, would be allowed to be, and thus would not be subconsciously controlled in an inharmonious way through those beliefs, experienced as unnecessary suffering. So in Sunday's video, we discussed accepting the feeling of the wish fulfilled, which again is referring to acceptance of the fact that your vision is the reality, from which all appear to have arisen accordingly to reflect the vision. We allow God within to cause it all to happen. Neither shall they say, Lo here, or Lo there, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you. And so all arise from God within you. Your desire to experience life a certain way represents your relationship with God. Your desire is a calling from God and is thus your personal relationship with God, representing your oneness with God. Desires arise from God, and so do the ways of actualizing the desires. So we accept the desire as already fulfilled through conscious thought autosuggestions, without shame or condemnation, as that would imply separation from God, and then yield completely to God's presence within you to take that vision and externalize it for you. Now, in relation to what appears as the journey to actualizing the vision, thoughts of disharmony may arise from past beliefs, revealing identification to them. And by letting them be, and by that I mean not identifying with them, the beliefs that result in them appearing in mind are released. Those thoughts that were arising from past beliefs are purified from mind by not identifying with them, and thus the identification to the corresponding beliefs are released. The same is to be said about emotions. Beliefs identified with are what a person relates to emotions, and thus emotions are experienced as they believe. If one brings awareness to the belief that corresponds to the emotions being experienced that way, they release identification to it. Emotions are allowed to be as they are, which is energy in motion for human experience. Part of the wonderful integration between physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And releasing identification to beliefs can be done without resistance, and by that I mean without triggering the belief through artful self-talk, like we discussed recently, applying the certain language patterns from the book Sleight of Mouth, The Magic of Conversational Belief Change by Robert Dilts. Beliefs are like clothes. They can be changed whenever you'd like. And as they are changed, so do emotions, behaviors, and world appear accordingly. And going meta to that, and by that I mean belief about beliefs, if one does not believe it is possible to do so, or difficult to do so, so it is done for them, as they believed, as Jesus said, which results in confirmation of their disbelief in possibility and belief in difficulty. So we're changing the feeling of I, which is truly formless, which is you. Thus, you can fuse and defuse with any belief you like effortlessly through artful self-talk. Matthew 8:13. Jesus said to the centurion, "Go your way, and as you have believed, so let it be done for you. And his servant was healed that same hour. Was Jesus in this passage also revealing the art of conversational belief change? So, to contribute to forming a healthy relationship with thoughts and emotions on the journey to actualizing your vision, let's revisit the 7-Day Mental Diet by Emmett Fox. So, in summary thus far, if one becomes identified with thoughts of disharmony, they can form an inharmonious belief. Then something may appear in experience which triggers that belief, from which arises more inharmonious thoughts which reveal the belief. This can also have physiological responses, which in combination, emotions arise, all arising according to identification to the belief that they once formed by persisting upon a thought. This is the power of thought. We associate thought to the one universal cause within I am, resulting in our entire being and life experiences reflecting the beliefs which our thoughts identified with. Again, Jesus reveals this, clean and simple. Let it be done for you as you believe. So the 7-Day Mental Diet, which is also simple and to the point, has a number of benefits. For the context of our conversation today, some include, number one, the ability to easily not identify with thoughts of disharmony, to release identification to the belief that is arising those thoughts and what is inharmoniously related to emotions, thus allowing the emotions to be. Number two, being aware of any thought one is about to identify with, which if inharmonious, they can choose to not identify with the thought, which then does not form any inharmonious belief. Number three, one also releases identification to fear-based beliefs with respect to thoughts and emotions, thus having a healthy relationship with both of them, considering one not better than another, but rather both harmoniously related and mutually beneficial for life experience. Number four, which is an effect of number three, one also releases identification to fear, doubt, and uncertainty-based beliefs when it comes to information one may consume. See, certain information is valuable, and for day-to-day life, it can help us. So rather than unnecessarily based on identification to fear-based beliefs, burying one's head in the sand being, as the saying goes, ostrich-like, even though that is not the reason why ostriches put their head in the ground, fear-based belief identification can result in a person cutting themselves off from valuable information that is actually helpful for them. So with the 7-Day Mental Diet, one does not need to be afraid of information, as they know how to think for themselves ideally in relation to it and discern accordingly. This reminds me of what Abraham Lincoln once called public opinion baths. He used to allow the White House to receive letters and visits from citizens so they can share their thoughts on how he was running the country and also share any issues and concerns they may have. He also practiced at the time what was later termed management by walking around, which is to actively engage with people by walking around, observing operations, and interacting with people, listening and understanding them deeply. So by applying the 7-Day Mental Diet, one no longer fears thoughts, emotions, and information as they realize they're the only one who can choose within what thoughts may be associated with emotions and information. This is also key for applying the art of mental transmutation. For example, a while back I used to teach these speed reading workshops while I was building my IT business, which I ran at the time. I was doing a lot of sales and client relationship stuff, and I thought it would be a great idea to teach these speed reading workshops for many reasons, one of which was to refine my communication and public speaking skills. There were many other benefits as well, which included having the opportunity to connect with many thousands of people. By applying artful self-talk, like how I mentioned in that video, which I'll link to in the description, I was able to transmute the emotions. Since emotions are experienced through beliefs, they may be transmuted by changing the beliefs. And anyone can do this, as emotions are energy in motion. We're the ones assigning meaning to them, and you have all the power. So emotions, which were once experienced as anxiety leading up to the workshops, which was the result of identification to beliefs that resulted in emotions being experienced that way, were experienced differently as the beliefs were changed via self-talk. I then experienced emotions as I would call excitement and enthusiasm leading up to the workshops. I discussed this in detail in my Subconscious Mind program. I'll link in the description to it. So the 7-Day Mental Diet, which is, although simple, it brings you to the realization that you transcend your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Self-realization. Thus, it reveals your ability to observe thoughts and emotions without forming inharmonious beliefs as a result of inharmonious thought identification. It also reveals your ability to choose desirable thoughts to entertain so you can consciously apply the two gifts bestowed upon humanity, which are mind and speech, to experience the life you desire to live. See, the mind is truly blank, like a blank canvas, created perfectly for you by the Creator. Thus, you have a mind, and with this blank canvas, or garden as I like to refer to it, we can plant in mind, via inner speech, guided by desire, what we love, our heaven on earth to appear as. And perhaps in the earlier stages of one's life, they may have allowed thoughts of disharmony to be planted in their mind, take root in their mind, thus forming beliefs, to be externalized as the various experiences of their lives, which includes what they relate to emotions, what they relate to themselves, people, environment, circumstance, and information. Emmett Fox states, "It's the food you furnish to your mind that determines the whole character of your life. It is the thoughts you allow yourself to think, subjects that you allow your mind to dwell upon, that make you and your surroundings what they are." So as mentioned, alongside the surroundings, it is also what, through belief, is experienced as emotional relatability, and which appears as behaviors, which includes what one communicates and or is subcommunicating, which reveals the beliefs identified with, which were once thoughts persisted upon. So two key words here in relation to what he said: allow and dwell. One might witness in mind many thoughts each day, and whatever thoughts we are not interested in encouraging, or as he says here, dwelling, provides the opportunity to apply the 7-day mental diet. Consider also that although this was written in a way that emphasizes 7 days, from studying his other work, I don't believe it was meant to be a tactic, rather a way of life. So we can start with 7 days and practice it for the long term to further purify the mind from the beliefs that result in inharmonious thoughts and the inharmonious relationship with emotions and inharmonious behaviors. He says, choose the subject of your thinking at any given time, and also choose the emotional tone, or what we call the mood that colors it. So as we've been discussing, we choose the emotional tone by thought. And if persisted upon, the thought becomes belief, which then the emotions are experienced that way. And so the 7-day mental diet is simple. If an undesirable thought appears in your mind, let it be without identifying with it. And do this for 7 days to the best of your ability. This also allows your emotions to be as you're not identifying with the belief that appears as a form of thought. For example, shame, failure, disappointment, or criticism, condemnation of others, or self-condemnation that results in emotions being experienced as suffering. And as mentioned earlier, with persistent inharmonious thoughts and emotions that are very uncomfortable, bring awareness to the belief that is generating the thoughts and emotions experienced that way and release it. You can learn how to do this with yourself or have it facilitated faster for you by a skilled practitioner. So with the 7-day mental diet, I perform it as follows. I may observe a thought appearing in mind that is undesirable, and by that I mean inauthentic to what I desire my life to be, and give it no further attention, and then it disappears. This is because you are not the thought. You have a mind which, in its essence, is pure and blank. And you've been given the gift of inner speech, simply put, to think for yourself, by which you can plant desired thoughts in mind for life to appear the way you desire it to appear as. Thus, you have all the power. So let the undesirable thoughts be, and this will clear up the beliefs that result in them appearing in mind, and also what the emotions are experienced as, all with the 7-day mental diet, which again, I see it as a lifestyle, so you can do it all the time. Another wonderful benefit for doing this is this allows the still, small voice from the kingdom of heaven within, which I believe Jesus pointed to listen exclusively to and guide you exclusively, as we discussed recently, where we visited the book Abd Allah, Teacher Healer by Walter Lanyard. Abd Allah said, "This is a glorious thought. and one well worth sitting in the silence with. I and my Father are one. You have heard it for years, yet when you ponder it anew, with the thought that from the next thought I'm going to think God's thoughts, it will reveal in you a newness of life and purpose you have never known before. This still small voice, of which so much has been said, will finally become the only voice as you begin to realize your oneness with the Father within. Again, as Jesus said, neither shall they say, Lo here, or Lo there, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you. So I trust you found this video to be helpful. Let's conclude this with an auto-suggestion to further encourage. You could say, I easily silence any mental chatter to listen exclusively to the still small voice that speaks clarity from the kingdom of heaven within and guides me to fulfill my heart's desires and live how I truly desire to be, releasing identification with all that is not in harmony with my vision, experienced as physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual harmony as a flow-based journey of life experiences. If you would like a copy of this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk with you soon. Take care.